Hi guys, and welcome to my latest video. This is a video with a difference. I'd just like to point out that my hair hadn't been cut for a few weeks and it's sticking out on the video, but it now looks like this, what there is of it. It's shaved again. It definitely doesn't look like this anymore. Yeah, I've lost all my curls. It most definitely looks like this now. So anyway, with that out of the way, that's going to be the only scripted part of this video. The rest of it is going to be a tutorial, sort of just showing you what materials I use and how I work, and a general chat. None of it is scripted, so please forgive me for any mistakes or anything. I'm just going to be winging it, to be honest, but I think that's the best way to do it naturally like that. What I like to do with my drawings, I like to do a base drawing first, and I usually do it in a HB or a 2B pencil, so it's quite dark. But then I like to rub it out with a kneaded eraser, so it's barely visible. And then I like to go and through the complete drawing again with a 3H pencil, which is what you can see me doing now. And there's the unshaved head. Anyway, yeah, I like to go over it with a 3H pencil because it's really light, and this enables me to use the ink pens over it without any real problem, because a 3H doesn't really show through the ink. It's not a very dark pencil. It's a hard pencil, so yeah, it's not very dark at all. What I like to do at this stage of the drawing is to like sort of change anything that I don't think's right and put stuff right. And I'll even do that at a later stage with the ink pens. If I think something's not right, I'll go in a different direction with it. You can always rub out the pencil anyway, so that's not a problem. What I'd just like to say is that I've seen a few of you mentioning Article 13 lately. I saw Eve Harvey did a live stream and she was talking about it and how it's going to affect her and people in Europe and people specifically who draw TV characters, cartoon characters, comic characters, and the like I do. I did do a massive video. I talked to Chrissy in one of the comments sections somewhere, Chrissy Canvas Art. I mentioned to her that I'd just done an 18 or 20-minute tutorial and realised it hadn't recorded properly, so I had to do it again. Well, I did do it again, but I've actually decided against putting that video up now. I brought up a lot of stuff about Article 13 and I really delved into it and I really looked into it and did a bit of research. Sorry if you can hear a lorry reversing in the background. It's just sod's law in it that somebody comes and does that now while I'm doing this. But anyway, yeah, I really looked into the Article 13 thing and I really saw how it is going to affect some of us. And I thought to myself afterwards that this is going to spring up a massive debate on my video in the comments section. And while most people would say that's a good thing because people will have to keep coming back to answer comments and it get me more views, yeah, that's great. But I didn't really want to be the harbinger of doom. I didn't really want to be the person to like say, "Oh, look what this is doing to us," and because you can look at it yourself. You can go and look at Article 13 yourself and make up your own mind about it. Needless to say, if it does pass, if it does come through, that it will restrict a lot of us. And for all our Canadian and American friends who think that it's not going to affect them, it's going to affect you big style as well. Larry Williams, for instance, who does the shout outs, most of the people that he includes on the shout outs and most of the people in our community are primarily living in European countries. So if any of them draw anything that's copyrighted, it will not be able to be seen by anybody in Europe. You'll still get your American audience or your Canadian audience, but it still might get banned as well under the new restrictions that will come in because YouTube will have to make a new law and go into a filtering system, and in the end the rich will get richer and the poor will get poorer, and everybody will get phased out in the end. And there's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot more to it. I mean, I spoke at length about it for I think it was 25 minutes, but it does affect us all. Even if Larry was showing, say, Hulk Project Arts, for instance, who draws a lot of like Walking Dead stuff and stuff like that, he'd be able to show it in America, but it wouldn't go. It wouldn't have a European audience. Nobody would be able to watch it. But anyway, while you're continuing to watch me draw this, the underdrawing with the 3H. I did do a video as well on monetization, but it swings and roundabouts. There's a lot of different things, and at the end of the day, it's just opinions. But a lot of people they're a bit disillusioned about this monetization thing. You don't earn as much money as you think you can on YouTube. Don't give up your day job. Even the top artists like Marcello Berengue and Heather Rooney, they're only just getting by on YouTube. They're not making a living out of it. They can buy materials maybe, but what they're doing, they're subsidising it with Patreon and with commissions and with their websites and with other things. So it's helping a little, but it's not their main income. So really what you should be doing with your YouTube is using it for your brand and not as a business. But we can talk about that in the future. I just wanted to get that out there that I decided against putting this up. You can all make your own mind up about it. So let's get on with the inking on this drawing now. Now, at the moment, I'm going to show you some the materials I use a bit later on, in a short while actually. At the moment, I'm using a Micron ink pen, and it's an archival ink pen. This is a 1.0 that I'm using at the moment, I think. Actually, no, I'm sorry about that. I'll correct myself there. That's the needle drawing pin that I'm using, which is 0.05. It's ideal for like fine detail and really thin lines. As I said, when I'm doing my line drawings now, you can see that I've got my base drawing down in the H3. If there's anything that I don't really like the look of, or that I don't think I've drawn in right with a pencil, then I'll just, like I did there with the ear, you can see, I'll just do it how I think it should be in the ink pen, and then if there's any pencil overlapping or underneath or showing through, then I'll just rub it out. Yeah, this is basically, I think this is times 4 or times 8 on the speed, so it's just a little faster than real time. But you can still see what I'm doing. I'm basically just going over my base drawing, just putting the lines in. A lot of people rush this part. You really shouldn't. This is the basis of your drawing. This is the main. This is the general crux of your drawing. This is what's going to show through. Once you colour it in, these black lines are going to be the defining part of the drawing. Even with the eyeballs now, as you can see, I'm trying to leave the part that's highlighted, the white, so I can leave that as the actual paper. Now you can, if you like, and sometimes I do, depending on what paper I'm using. Sometimes I draw the pupil in, totally black, and then I use a Posca white marker to put the highlight in. I'm using Bristol smooth paper on this one. What I'm going to try and do, I'm going to try and experiment. A lot of people are using Archie's watercolour paper because it's really good for blending. And when I'm using coloured pencils, I generally like to blend, to use a thinner or a white spirits. That's how I like to blend my stuff. But with this Bristol smooth paper, there's no tuff at all to the paper. It's so smooth. So with this, for blending, you basically just got to blend your pencils together and then burnish when you get to the final stage. You don't always have to burnish. You can do a really light blend. Just do a few layers. But what I like to do is I like to use a Copic marker and then put in a few base colours of the coloured pencil on top of the Copic marker, and then use my final colour to burnish, which is, for those of you who don't know what burnishing is just basically pressing as hard as you can on the pencil to smooth everything out that's underneath it. So, for instance, you can put a layer of yellow, a layer of orange, a layer of red, and then you can burnish it with whichever colour is the prominent colour, i.e. the red or the orange. Just as an example as well for flesh, if you're using like burnt siennas or burnt umbers for dark shading, you can build up your flesh colour. You can use the burnt sienna for your light highlights, the burnt umber for your dark highlights, and then you can go in with a white and burnish. And when you burnish the white over everything, it really gives it that smooth finish, that creamy finish. But I'll explain that when you see it in this drawing. As you can see, I'm continuing to just line in now. I do make a mistake on his hand, actually, which I will talk about as well. Excuse me. It's just there, look, I've just put that straight line in, and it's not meant to be straight. There's meant to be a little bump in there for his thumb, and I think you'll probably see me realise that in a moment and think, oh damn, if I haven't already. And then I'll add the little lump to that line, which doesn't really look right, but I think to myself, well, I can change it later, which I'll just about get away with, to be honest. But that's the beauty of practice. That's the beauty of trying to learn how to draw. Like, I've decided to try a bit of anime, and you know, you make mistakes. You can see here, I've just realised, look, so I'm trying to sort of add a little bump to that line. I'll try and white it out later with a Posca white marker, so I can try and white that line out a bit, that black straight line, and try and add a little more of a bump. And like I said, I'll just about get away with it. But it's a learning process, as you all know. It's trial and error. And this thing here, I'm drawing the blade with a ruler, and people will say, a ruler? That's cheating. Well, I'm sorry, but I totally disagree. There's no such thing as cheating in drawing. You draw how you draw. Right then, let's just have a quick look at the materials that I use. These are my ink pens. I've got quite a selection of ink pens that I like to use. My go-to ink pen is this graphic one. They are quite good and quite cheap, and the ink quality is very good in them. And I've also got them in grey, as you can see. I'm holding that one upside down. Yeah, the grey ones are pretty good for like underwork, for light lines that you don't really want showing through too much. And these are the microns that I'm using in this drawing that you've been watching. I've got a 0.05, like I said. That's an Edding one. That's another pen, just while I show you these pens. And that's a Stadler. But yeah, the micron pens are pretty good. I've got the 0.05, 0.1, 0.2, 3, 4, 5, and up to 8, I think. This is just a cheap one from a shop in Holland called Heimer, which for some reason is just a good little ink pen. It works. For the thicker lines, this is a brush pen that came with a micron as well. And I'm going to do a video on Wish, because I got these micron pens from Wish and they cost me nothing. They were free, and I just paid the delivery, which was €2, I think. And I'm so pleased with them. Wish is such a brilliant site. For those of you who don't know about it, I'll do a little video on it. These are some Edding Eco Line markers that I picked up when I couldn't find my go-to ones, which are these. These are right for all. The Edding ones are pretty good just for blocking in and for big areas. But these right for alls, they're a medium ink pen. They're absolutely brilliant. They're such a deep black and they cover the area so well. And they basically go on any paper. These are my Copic chair. This is the 72 set. A lot of them are running dry at the moment, which I'll have to refill. Which, for those of you who saw my refill video, it's the way to go. It's cheaper than actually buying new markers. I've also got 2 Copic roll covers that I keep with pens in. That's like a lot of flesh colour there. And I've got another one which has just got some of the basics in, some reds, oranges and yellows. Yeah, so the Copic chair were the main markers that I use. But I do use other markers as well. Now, this is the first marker I ever used. This is the Letraset, the Pro marker. They're not bad. And now these little beauties I also got from Wish, and I think it cost me about €6 for the lot of them. And I think it works out something like they were 30 cents each, which makes them €5 or £4.50 or $5 cheaper than Copic, or Copic Sketch anyway. So I was really pleased with them as well. This is a really cheap set that I picked up for about £3. They're not too good, to be honest, but the Touch New ones that you just saw, the white ones that look like Copics that I got from Wish, they're brilliant. This is a Letraset Pro mark, and that's a blender. And this is invaluable for any marker. You can use it with any markers to blend them. Pretty good. This set is from Tombow, the same people who do the really thin erasers. And they're actually quite good, these are. They've got a brush end and also a thin pencil end as well. So they're pretty good. Instead of having the chisel end with the brush end, they've actually got the detailed pencil end and the brush end. They are pretty good, and they do colour pretty well. This is a gold pen that I use, just if there's anything with a gold highlight or a gold shine on it. And that one I just showed you, I quickly put it down because I realised that I can show you the whole box of them that I've got. I've got a Looney Tunes box, and there they are. They're I believe they're the Stadler ones, or the Stabilo, sorry. These are Stabilo, and these are really thin, pointed 0.1 ink pens. And they're pretty good if you want to put detail in on a drawing that's not black, like the normal black liners. You know, you've got every colour you can think of. These are my little collection of Caran d'Ache Luminance, the Rolls Royce of coloured pencils, in my opinion. Really smooth and creamy. I really like the way they go down on the paper. And this is my main pencil that I use. That's the Faber-Castell Polychromos. I like to use them with the Caran d'Ache. And those are my two Posca white markers, which are invaluable for highlights. So these are the Touch New markers that I told you about that I got from Wish, and they cost me practically nothing. And I urge any of you, if you want some markers that actually work and not too bad, to go to Wish and get them. Just download the Wish app on your phone. There's some great stuff on there. You can get stuff free basically. Just pay the postage. And even the stuff that you do pay for is really cheap, and you can get some right bargains up to like 90% off stuff. Now these have got a chisel head and a normal felt tip head. They haven't got the brush head like the Copics, which you would think would be a drawback, because I don't usually like drawing with the normal felt tip heads. But to be honest with you, they're actually quite good. They go down on the paper really well, really smooth. For that first part of the skin there, I've put down a blush tone. On top of the blush tone, I will eventually... Oh, let me just interrupt myself there. I'm just going in with a Posca white marker there, look, to try and erase that straight line there I didn't want in there. It doesn't work at all, and it makes it a dirty, horrible mess. But, like I said, once it's coloured in, I actually got away with it. I actually decided to start lining in some of the hair here. I'm just using a brick sand colour here in his hair. And that's the Touch New marker again. And they really do go down quite well. I was so chuffed, because I mean, when you buy something that's really cheap, I will just say to everybody, when you do go on Wish, make sure you research things that you're buying. Don't just buy the first thing that you see because it's an amazing bargain. Actually look, and they give you people who are selling it cheaper on there, and other people who are selling it at different prices. And you can actually look, and the best thing to do is go into the review section and look at the reviews of what people have said about what they've bought. And people put photos and videos up of what they've had as well. Right, I've moved this video forward a bit, and what I did with the face, I went over the blush colour with a flesh colour, and for the darker highlights on the right side of his face, or left side of his face, right as we look at it, I did a rose beige. But then I've gone in again over the whole thing with a flesh coloured pencil, and then I've burnished it with burnt sienna 10% Caran d'Ache. And what this is done, it's really sort of pressed in the Copic marker and the flesh coloured pencil and blended it into a really nice flesh colour. And I was really pleased with the way that worked out. Now on his clothing here, I'm using I think it's a warm grey, or is it a cool grey? Let me think. Actually, yeah, it's a cool grey, number 7 Copic chair. And what I'm doing, I'm just blocking in my base again. And I'm going to go over it, believe it or not, with an even darker grey polychromos pencil. I'll go over it with a Payne's grey, I believe. And then I think I even added another layer of a coal grey 6 was the number. You think, well, what's the point in putting down this dark marker and then going over it again in pencil? Why not just leave it? Well, if you can see now, I'm just lining in some of that. I'm just going over some of those lines again with an ink marker. The point in doing this is you could leave it like that. You could leave it with just the Copic markers. You could even go over it several times with the Copics and leave it, do it that way if that's the way you want to do it. But as you'll see in a moment, by going in with the Copics first, I've given it a really nice dark base to start with, and then covering this base with a darker grey pencil and burnishing, as it gives it a really smooth quality. It gives it a really smooth dark grey look, and I think it works out quite well in the end. And don't forget, this is just a practice drawing for me as well. I'm still learning. I'm nowhere near these guys who are some of the top drawers of anime on YouTube. They're absolutely amazing. But I think I could get there. I think I could raise my game and get up to their level, I think. But you can see now I've moved the plastic sheet. You can see the flesh colour, how it's burnished as he puts the plastic sheet back over it again. I told you it wasn't scripted. But yeah, you can see that smoothness, which will, there you go, look, you can see how smooth that face is now. But now here I am, I'm going in now with the Payne's grey. And you can see how much darker it makes that clothing over the Copic marker as well. It gives it a really lovely smooth quality, and I think it really works well. And for the highlights, all I'm doing is avoiding the lighter Copic marker, and then I'll go in with a warm grey over that as well to burnish that. As you can see, look how smooth that clothing is now. Now on the background, you can really see how basic it is just to layer colours. I've basically gone in there with the Faber-Castell, and I've started with the cream, a really light base. You could barely see it when I started it, and then I've gone over that with a really light burnt sienna. Sorry, not burnt sienna, a Naples ochre it was that I went over that with. And then that dark yellow you can see me using there now that's a dark cadmium yellow, the polychromos, and also the orange, the dark cadmium orange. Now the dark cadmium yellow and the dark cadmium orange really complement each other well. And I'm going in with a rose red there as well. So I've got a layer of Naples yellow, a layer of ochre, and then a layer of orange, and then a layer of red. That's what, in that corner, what you can see coming down. And then what I'll do, once I've got this layered maybe 5 or 6 times, what I'll sometimes do is relayer the whole thing again. So I'll do the yellow, the ochre, the Naples yellow, the ochre, the orange, the red, and then I'll go back again and do the whole sequence again. And now what I'm doing over the top of it is I'm burnishing it with the orange. Well, I will be in a second anyway. Here we go, I think. Yeah, I'm burning it with the orange now. And it sort of, if I'd have just burnished straight away with the orange, you'd have just had this light orange colour. Even though it's a dark cadmium orange, you'd have just had this orange, basically, the orange colour. But because I've got all the layers underneath, the yellows and the reds, it gives it a richer sort of feel. And with the highlights where the yellow is on the 2 stripes above his head, it's just a case of knowing which colour that he's going to show through the most. And and I've sort of blended the yellow colour, the highlight, in at the sides with the orange again and the red again. So we've moved on again here. Now, the top left corner, I actually did a layer of grey and then a layer of black before I put a red and orange down on top of it, and it didn't really work out well. I don't really like the way that's worked out. And what I'll probably do in future to negate that is I'll probably, and I don't know why I didn't with this actually, because it's an experiment and a practice. I think I was just trying to see what the pencils could do. But what I'll probably do in future is go and do a Copic background. Do the background in markers first, and then go over it in pencil again. Could you see there that I realised I'd missed a bit and I've just drawn it in, the clothing. And you can see that mistake I made on the thumb where that little bump is. It's still not rectified properly yet, but it's not a big deal. It doesn't look that bad in the scheme of things in the overall drawing, so I was quite pleased with that in the end. I will stress as well, for those of you who are using pencils and markers in conjunction with each other, definitely use that plastic sheet, because it stops your drawing getting messy. Because especially when you're burnishing, you will get a lot of coloured pencil on the side of your hand, and if you forget or don't use the sheet, then you're going to get marks all over your drawing. And they usually will rub out, but sometimes, you know, you get the odd thing that doesn't rub out and it can spoil your drawing. As you can see, I'm burnishing over again in the orange there, just to sort of blend that red in a bit more. With the sword, I basically used the dark greys and the light greys and blended them in. I also made a little mistake with the highlight on the sword. I'd gone through with the line, but as you can see, I layered with Posca white markers and got rid of most of the black line, and just a little bit showing through, but that adds to the highlight, I think. And that's basically it for this practice. What I'd like to do in the future is when I get a bit better, I want to do a proper tutorial and really show you how I do it and talk you through my method properly. But for the meantime, thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful to someone. Like I said, go and look at Article 13 for yourselves, make your own minds up. We've all got different opinions at the end of the day, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just thought I'd save myself the debate in my comments section. Go and look it up, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody who subscribes. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you all on the next video. Ta-ra.